Hi, this is attorney Sarah Holmes, and today we are going to be talking with attorney Heather Turner. Hi, Heather.
Hi,
Thanks for talking with us this afternoon. Can you just introduce yourself to everybody and tell us what you do?
my name is Heather Turner, and I'm an estate planning attorney. So I help people prepare their wills, trusts, powers of attorney, living wills, and I help with probate administration.
Okay, that's great. So, most of my clients are business owners, and I think a lot of times they don't really understand what's involved in estate planning. So, do you think it's important for business owners to have a will?
Absolutely. Having a business is an asset, which could potentially be worth a considerable amount of money. Or even if it's not necessarily worth money, maybe you have items that are worth money or importance to you, and you want to make sure that the business itself, whether it be worth money or the items are worth something to you, that they go the way that you'd like them to. And you really can't be sure that that's going to happen without a will.
Okay. So, what would happen? Once in a while, we get calls from people that they maybe had a business partner and the business partner passed away. And what could happen in that situation?
So it really depends. If you have a partner and you have a partnership agreement, I have a ton of clients who have partnership agreements or operating agreements or buy-sell agreements or whatever they call it. And a lot of times in those agreements, it dictates what's going to happen upon one of their passings. And most clients I meet with aren't aware of that. So that's first of all, what could happen. If you sign one of those agreements, you should be aware of the death or dismemberment clause, what it says, what will happen. But second of all, if you do not have a partnership agreement, your share of whatever the business is worth may not go to your estate for many reasons. One, there is no agreement how you're going to liquidate your share. How's that going to be paid to your estate? And there's no way to really, is there a valuation set? So have you decided on how that valuation is going to occur, or who's going to do it? Or is it going to be over 3 years or 5 years? Or are you going to get back what you put into it? And so, it's important to kind of have that all set out prior to passing away.
Yeah, ideally, right? So, in that situation too, and just for general business owners, like what would happen if you didn't have a will set up?
So if you don't have a will set up, then you die intestate, which is without a will. And generally what happens is that your assets are distributed based on a hierarchy which is set by the law. So for instance, if you are married, your spouse does not receive all of your assets. It goes partially to your spouse and partially to your children, if you have children. And that, can pose a problem for some people, and you will incur inheritance taxes in those cases, in Pennsylvania anyway, because when you pass and you pass things on to your children, there is an inheritance tax. So if you pass without a will and it's not 100% to your spouse, which is no inheritance tax, and it goes to your children, there will be a tax. If you are not married and you have no children, then there is a hierarchy of how those assets will be given out. And you are bound by that hierarchy because you did not have that will.
Okay, so it sounds like there could be some unexpected consequences like taxes and, controlling who your property goes to if you don't have a will.
Correct. And controlling who is in charge of your estate. If you don't have a will, you haven't chosen your executor, who's the person who is in, control of the estate and helping wrap up your life. And that is also set by the law of who is entitled to become the executor. And it may not be the person you would have chosen.
Okay. And also, just to be totally clear, like your business would be included all this as well, right? That all would be up in the
Correct.
air.
Yes, because that's part of, if you have a partnership agreement, then that would say what would happen. But if you don't have an agreement, it's going to fall into your estate just like any other asset.
Okay. So it sounds like a worst case scenario if you had a partner would be no
Mhm.
partnership agreement plus no will.
No, no, that it would be yes, it would be yes, and to be honest, a lot of businesses, rightfully so, don't have a tremendous amount of liquid assets. So if the one partner passes, the other partner is just not able to pay the estate, you know, let's say, the value of what it's worth. And they have no formula set out. They have no valuation, set up. And it can cause a conflict between the person who's passed estate and the partner who's, currently alive.
Okay. So another important point would be to, especially if you have a partner, also figure out what's the business worth, have a valuation done so that, God forbid,
Right.
if something happened, they could answer those questions.
Right. Or at least have some kind of idea of how that valuation is how you're going to get that valuation once the person passes. What are you going to do? Are you going to go to an accountant and look at the revenue for the last 3 years, 5 years? I mean, what's your plan?
Yeah, we like to give people a formula that they can agree on, at least in advance.
I agree.
Okay. So in the scenario where somebody, doesn't have a partnership agreement and they don't have a will, how long can it take to sort something like that out?
It really, it really depends on how long it takes to make an agreement. If the parties agree right away about what's going to happen, and there's liquid assets or liquid money to kind of pay out the estate, maybe a short time. But like I said, in most cases, that doesn't happen. And if there's a conflict, it could go on, for years, hypothetically, because the parties have to agree.
Okay. So not a great thing to do to your family and your business partners, right?
No. Yeah. Right. And it could hurt, unfortunately, it could hurt the business as a whole. So it's not just, the estate, but the business, if it has to liquidate, it becomes a problem with employees and just, do you have to get rid of some? Do you have to sell off product? Do you have, what's going to happen?
Okay.
Yeah.
What else do you think business owners should be concerned about with estate planning and their business?
I think succession, they should be concerned about. A lot of definitely people in professional positions, be it, a lot of business owners, if you're a partner, let's say, you have your own law firm, you have your own accounting firm, you have your own therapy firm, your therapist. You have to make sure that you have a succession agreement, something that where the person you pass away, somebody who can come in and, first of all, pay your bills and or collect on any accounts that are owed, but take care of any emergencies, be it clients, patients, whatever needs to be done. But I think a succession plan is really important.
Okay. And typically, is that complicated for people to set that up, or what are some tips?
I don't think so. I mean, they could go, somebody like yourself, or even just, it doesn't have to be a long, complicated, paperwork. I mean, it can be something that's, a couple pages, but as long as it, sort of lays out who is going to do that. It's very hard for a layperson, even if it's your spouse, to come in and take over your business when they really have no knowledge of, let's say here, the law or, what's involved.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you think especially for maybe solo professional owners or people like that, sounds like it would be really critical.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, Heather. So if you have any other tips for us, just let us know. Otherwise, where can people find you?
So you can give me a call at 610-761-6363. You can email me at hturner@heatherturnerlaw.com, or you can go on my website, www.heatherturnerlaw.com. And you can find me in Narberth at any time. I'm usually at my office.
Hey, yeah, your beautiful office in Narberth, right?
That's right.
And I know you're pretty active on Facebook, right? Your law office, and you have all kinds of good reviews on there from past clients if anyone wants to check them out.
That's true. That is true.
All right, perfect. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. And if anybody has questions about you or wants to know more about creating a will or some of these other documents, to plan for their business, they know how to contact you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Sarah.
All right, thanks a lot.